Hello everybody, my name is Davis and welcome back to another video, and today we are here for another severe weather breakdown. Now we're going to be breaking down this storm that's going to be bringing severe weather, a massive snowstorm, flooding, high winds, and more. So let's go ahead and get right into it, starting off with the SPC outlook for today, where we have two slight risks of severe weather, one being in the Florida Big Bend area in southern Georgia, and the other extending from eastern South Carolina back up into southeastern Virginia. Tornado threat for today, you have a 5% chance to see a tornado in your town if you're in either of those two brown blobs there, so look out for that. We've already seen several tornadoes this morning, some strong, so tornadoes are definitely a big threat today. Damaging wind threat. If you're in the yellow areas, you have a 15% chance to see wind gusts of 60 miles per hour or higher in your town, so look out for that. Damaging winds are going to be a pretty big threat today as well. Not as big as the tornado threat in my opinion, but still something to look out for. And then we do not have a hail threat for today. Now for the couple next days, we're not going to have any severe weather. So let's go ahead and move on to the excessive rainfall outlook here, where today we have a moderate risk of flash flooding, okay, for portions of the Northeast. Now for some reason this map is not showing it, but we do have a moderate risk of flash flooding for portions of Rhode Island, Connecticut, New Hampshire, okay? So definitely be looking out today. Some flooding will be possible in the Northeast as this storm is going to bring a lot of rainfall to like Providence, Boston, Hartford, Bridgeport, okay? This whole area is going to see a lot of rain. You have a 40% chance to see flash flooding in your town if you are in that area today. Moving on to tomorrow, we have a slight risk of flash flooding for the Northeast, okay? That's a 15% risk of flash flooding, including Augusta, going down into southeastern New Hampshire, also including Portland, and then going up into central Maine. Now moving on to Tuesday here, we do not have any risks for flash flooding. Wednesday, we have a marginal risk of flash flooding down here in southeastern Florida that does include Miami, well, up to West Palm Beach, and then on Thursday, we have another marginal risk of flash flooding in that same area, okay? So let's go ahead and move on to snowfall totals with this storm, okay? So at 11 a.m. tomorrow, you could be looking at this much snow on the ground in your area. Now keep in mind that this is not going to be the end of the snowfall because some snow will fall after 11 a.m. tomorrow, but this is as far out as we can look right now, so this is what we're doing, right? So we've got a dusting of snow, a little trace of snow here, all the way down into extreme northeastern Georgia, okay? But like western North Carolina, eastern Tennessee, eastern Kentucky, western Virginia, that whole area could see 1 to 2 inches of snow possibly, okay? You get into West Virginia, eastern portions of the state could get into that 3 to 4 inches of snow range, okay? We got several readings over 3.5 inches, so definitely look out for that. That's a decent amount of snow. Maryland, western portions of the state could get a dusting, and then once you get into extreme western portions of the state, once again, maybe over 1/4 of a foot of snow, so look out for that. Ohio, okay, eastern portions of the state and central portions of the state could be in for a dusting upwards of 1/2 inch. Northern Indiana could get some snow upwards of 1/2 inch. Around Silver Lake, you could get an inch or two, so look out for that. Okay, even Michigan's going to get some snow with this, right? The UP is going to get a few inches of snow in eastern portions of it. And then the oven mitt as well. It's going to be getting quite a bit of snow in northwest Michigan, right? Well, we got Pennsylvania here, where northeast portions of the state, I mean, you could be looking at 3 to 4, maybe even isolated areas, up to 5 inches of snow, so look out for that for sure. There's a 7-inch reading even on the Pennsylvania-New York border, so a lot of snow could fall, guys, okay? And keep in mind, once again, this is just in, like, the next 23 hours or so, so it's going to get even worse. But, like, New York, okay? Basically, all of New York is going to get at least a dusting of snow, but you get into, like, northeastern New York, I mean, 7.5-inch reading there, northwest of Keene, okay, Blackbrook, southwest of that, there's a 6.6-inch reading, 6-inch reading, okay, so over 1/2 foot of snow will be possible here in northeastern New York, maybe even more than that, okay, I think that after the entire event is said and done, maybe some areas could reach 8 inches, but that's kind of, like, we can't see that far out, obviously, so there's not really a point in talking about that. Connecticut here, okay, northwestern Connecticut could get that dusting of snow over 1 inch, maybe in the mountainous regions, so look out for that. Western Massachusetts as well, over 1 inch possible near Pittsfield. Vermont, northern portions of the state, once again, over 1/2 foot maybe around Sheldon, Fairfield, Montgomery, Waterville, okay. There's even a reading over 8 inches here, actually, along Interstate 91, an 8.3-inch reading east of Irisburg, so, okay, a lot of snow is going to fall in Vermont, and then New Hampshire, northwest portions of the state could be in for a few inches of snow, but the rest of New Hampshire is probably going to be your 1 to 2 inch rain, although there is a 5-inch reading northwest of Jackson, so look out for that. Maine here, western portions of the state, once again, a few inches of snow possible, okay? Watches, warnings, and advisories. Tornado watch in effect left in portions of western Florida here, mainly in the Big Bend area. Okay, these will expire relatively soon, but a few tornadoes will be possible in that area this afternoon, and we could actually get another tornado watch in portions of southern Georgia and northern Florida as well. There's about a 40% chance that we see this tornado watch get extended, so I'll keep you guys updated on my YouTube community tab. We even have a tornado warning here in central North Carolina near Raleigh, okay? We had a tornado on the ground just outside of Raleigh just a few minutes before filming this, okay? It was pretty bad. It was pretty strong. So, we'll be waiting to see the damage reports out of that, okay? Pinks, winter storm warnings. You can see a lot of snowfall in the next 24 hours. Purples, winter weather advisories. Still a lot of snowfall, but maybe not quite as much. Blues, winter storm watches. You could see a lot of snowfall, but it likely won't be in the next 24 hours. There's a lot of flood watches up in the Northeast, okay? Even getting down into, like, Virginia, all the way up into Maine, the greens are going to be your flood watches, as we do have that moderate risk of excessive rainfall, so look out for that. High wind watches also in effect here for a lot of the Northeast. We're going to break down the wind gusts here in just a second. I haven't been covering them that well because I wasn't used to using the Windy website. I was used to using the Windy app, so I'm just going to start using the Windy app for these videos. I'm just going to screencast it from my iPad. So, speaking of which, I mean, now that I talk about it, we might as well go ahead and show the wind gusts here. Alright, so the Northeast is really going to be the area that gets most impacted by these winds here, right? So, right now, not too much going on as to be expected. Maybe in eastern Massachusetts, okay, we could get some gusts approaching 30 miles per hour, sustained winds of maybe a little over 20 there near Yarmouth. Okay, but we go into, let's say 8 p.m. tonight, the winds really start to pick up just a little bit off the coast, and I mean, in the Yarmouth area, we could be dealing with sustained winds of around 30 miles per hour, gusts maybe even getting up to 40, maybe even more than that, okay? And then also, I'd like to point out, around the Delmarva, there's a decent spot of winds as well, okay? So look out for that, upwards of 30 miles per hour once again, but it's once we really get into tomorrow that the winds really start to get crazy, okay? We go into 5 a.m. tomorrow, I mean, just off the coast, we could be looking at sustained winds of over 50, maybe even some isolated areas approaching 60 miles per hour. I mean, eastern Massachusetts, guys, your sustained winds are going to be 40, maybe a little over 40, around Provincetown, Barnstable, okay? And the gusts are going to be even higher than that, right? You could be approaching 60 mile per hour gusts. Like, seriously, look out for this, you guys. This is going to be a very damaging blizzard, to say the least, okay? And then by 9 a.m. tomorrow, the winds really start to calm down, and then they finally do leave, but it's going to get pretty intense there for a few minutes with isolated gusts, I mean, 60, maybe even 70 miles per hour at some points, so definitely be on the lookout for that, I would say, okay? Now, finally, what's next to come, alright? We're going to be taking a look at the GFS model here. So, right now, obviously, we have a lot of thunderstorm activity on the East Coast. We go into 6 p.m. tonight, we can start to see that snow core develop here on the back end of this thing, right? We go into midnight. The western portion of the Northeast is going to be dealing with a huge winter storm, but the eastern portion of the Northeast is going to be dealing with thunderstorms. Okay, it's going to be a pretty crazy event, alright, and then that low pressure system actually gets decently strong as it enters Maine and leaves the United States, being 985 millibars, bringing heavy snow, heavy thunderstorms, maybe even some ice accumulation, okay, and that finally leaves us, and then it's not too long after that we already get our next action of thunderstorms popping up here in between Texas and Oklahoma, okay? Thursday into Friday, we could be dealing with some thunderstorms there, and then also some decent snow accumulations around New Mexico and Kansas, okay, as well as Texas and Oklahoma, so look out for that. And then right after that, we get into the next period of severe weather, where in central Texas we got severe weather, but also in Florida. Just take a look at the Gulf of Mexico. That's some heavy thunderstorm activity happening there, okay, especially centered around like Gainesville, Orlando, central Florida. I mean, you're going to get some heavy thunderstorm action by the weekend comes, and then it's probably going to bring some severe weather to us as well. And then that kind of sticks around the Dixie Alley. We get some more thunderstorms, and then it starts to ride up the Northeast here. 985 millibar low pressure system, bringing some serious severe weather likely here around next Monday, okay? And then, I mean, we keep setting this off. Another snow core starts to develop on the back end of this thing, bringing ice in the middle, snowstorm on the west, and thunderstorms on the east. You start to see the pattern here. All right, this is going to be very similar to a nor'easter event rain, but half of it is snow, half of it is thunderstorms, okay? And then we do get a small low pressure system to develop off the west coast of California, so maybe even some severe weather there if it is warm enough, but there's going to be a decent amount of snowfall there as well with that. And then, I mean, after that, there's more thunderstorm activity in northeast Texas. There's not a single time of December that it's really looking like where we're going to get a huge break, okay? And then a lot of ice accumulation as well in the upper western Midwest, potentially on Saturday the 23rd, right before Christmas Eve, Christmas time, okay? And then you may be wondering, well, what am I going to see in Christmas time? Well, if you're in the Dixie Alley, we got a lot of thunderstorm activity popping off here around Christmas Eve, all right? We go into Christmas Day, more thunderstorm activity in Georgia, Alabama, a lot of rain, actually, across the eastern and central portions of the United States. It's really looking like it's going to be a nasty Christmas time for a lot of people, and a lot of ice accumulation as well in the Northeast once again, okay? So if you guys did enjoy this video, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll keep you guys updated on the latest and greatest severe weather, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace.